The weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is the attribute of the strong. To forgive is to set a prisoner free and discover that the prisoner was you. Forgiveness does not change the past, but it does enlarge the future. Welcome back to another episode of Make It to Midnight, the Make It to Midnight podcast hosted by myself, JP Hovey. Remember, I'm located in Nashville, Tennessee, and I try to update you guys daily with whether it's short form or long form content, positivity content, inspirational content, motivational content. I'm trying to get back into writing, so I try to write some poems, if you can even call it that yet. But thank you for being here. We appreciate you. Episode 23. I've been slacking on the long form version, so thank you to everybody that is listening. And if you couldn't tell by the quotes that we were just saying, this episode is all about forgiveness. Forgiveness is one of the most important tools you can learn to use in your life. But the reason that I'm bringing it up this week is because I was scrolling on TikTok. Remember, a couple weeks ago, I was talking about how important it is to clean up your algorithm, how important it is to consume good things, just like your diet with your food needs to be the same with the algorithms on your phone. Ingest good things, you're going to feel good. You're going to put good out there. So what I saw was on the CBS Morning TikTok account, they told this incredible story about forgiveness that I don't think I've ever seen this level, or I haven't seen or read about this level of forgiveness in a long time, because it struck a chord. And what my first thought after hearing it was, man, I have got to share this. I'll Make It to Midnight, because this is a level of forgiveness I don't know if many people will ever reach in their life. But when you hear the full story, it is powerful. So this episode is about what happens when forgiveness becomes real. Not when it's easy, not when it's deserved, but when it's chosen. And this is a story of two men whose lives collided with violence and somehow led to grace. So let me go ahead and get into the story of forgiveness. And this is me paraphrasing it. I try to write a story script for you guys to hopefully make it more engaging than my normal ones. But here it is. In 1996, a man named Marcus Cheffen made a terrible decision. He had never robbed anybody before, but that night, fear and panic took over. He tried to rob a man named Don Allison, and in the chaos, Marcus pulled the trigger. Not once, but twice. Initially, Marcus walked up to Don's car, and Don tried to give him anything. Here, take my car, take my wallet, take whatever you need, just don't shoot. Marcus shoots, misses him. And then Marcus goes, takes the car, he looks back, he sees Don is still standing up. Don is pleading with him again, hey, please don't shoot, please don't shoot. Boom, shoots again. Next thing, the next words out of Don's mouth as Marcus was looking at him was, you got me. Had a bullet hole in his left leg that had went to his right leg also, went through his left leg to his right leg, and just missed the main artery. If it hits that artery, he bleeds out within 5 to 10 minutes, but literally missed it by centimeters. So Don ends up surviving. And this is where it gets crazy. Obviously, Don is pissed off. And so when he shows up to the court case, he's like, yeah, I mean, this guy, this is what he did. Here's the evidence. Boom, Marcus was sentenced to 95 years in prison. The trial only lasted 2 hours. Someone's whole life decided in an afternoon. But this is when the mending starts to happen. Remember, this is 1996. The moment when Marcus stepped into that prison, he made a choice. And this is down in Louisiana, not an easy prison system. He made the choice. If his freedom was gone, his character did not have to be. He decided that he was going to walk the right path, so he started cutting himself a new path. He learned how to become a prison barber. He worked, he reflected, and he grew. And something that he emphasizes in the story is that sorry and accountability are two different things. And over, the period of 10 years, however many it was, Marcus wrote Don several times. Letters of apology, just looking for forgiveness, just trying to own up to everything that he did and caused to Don and his family. But Don didn't want any of it. Why would you, right? The guy almost took his life. For what reason would he have to forgive him? So now fast forward to 2016. So what is that? Almost 20 years since it happened. It's the parole meeting. They're here to decide, hey, instead of this 95-year pretty much life sentence for Marcus, Don, do you wish to let him go? Don firmly tells the parole board, no, do not let him go. This guy deserves to be behind bars forever. He tried to take my life, tried to ruin my family's life. Felt good, said it with conviction. But then when he got home is when he started to feel convicted. His wife asked him one simple question: do you think you did the right thing? And that question sat with him. Shout out to the wives. This is why it's so important to have a good wife. But what he does from there is he goes and looks up. He finds this thing called the Victim Offender Dialogue Program. And it's a program where survivors and offenders can choose to meet face to face. Don agreed to it. Marcus agreed to it the first time they met up. First time seeing each other since court, since parole. They sat down for 8 hours and talked over the whole thing. Marcus apologized to Don. He apologized to Don's daughter. And he apologized to Don's wife. And all of this, not through a letter, but face to face. And there was one part that really stuck out to Don, and it's when Marcus was telling him that he had become and learned the skill of being a hospice worker. For those that don't know who hospice is, it's taking care of sick people. A lot of times old people, especially if you're in the prison system doing it. But he was caring for dying inmates. He held their hands. He changed their bandages. He changed their clothes. And the one thing that stuck out to Don the most was the fact that Marcus said that he was changing the diapers, and it is one of the most humbling experiences in his whole life. It stripped him of everything, of all the false personas that maybe Marcus had in his head that of who he was. When you go and you change another man's pants, another man's underwear, another man's diaper on his deathbed, it does something to you. And it did exactly that. It humbled him. It taught him dignity. It taught him that every single life has value and a purpose. And he did not expect forgiveness at this time. This is 2016. So he goes back to jail. 4 more years he's in there. During those 4 years, Don is in the process of becoming a deacon at the Catholic Church, learning to serve, learning to counsel, learning to love. And you already know, especially in the Catholic Church, confession is a huge thing. Confession, you're basically asking for forgiveness for the things you've done. So he was having to live out this life instead of just talking about it each and every day. So in 2020, the parole board meets again, and this time when they asked Don, hey, do you want to uphold this sentence that we gave him, the 95 years, have him continue serving? Don said, no way, let him out. He has proven that this one bad moment that he had in his life should not affect the rest of his life. And what stood out to him was the amount of work that Marcus put in to correct his life. He still served however many years this is, 24 years in prison. It took 24 years for Don to forgive him. So that doesn't mean forgiveness, whether you're seeking it or whether you're trying to give it. Doesn't mean it's a decision that can happen just like that. Sometimes it will take time. And this is a perfect example of that. 24 years in prison, that's a whole lot of time. But Marcus proved it. He proved it through his work, and that's how pretty much what we all need to do as well. You got to prove your forgiveness through your work. There's a difference between sorry and being held accountable, and holding yourself accountable. But this is probably the coolest part of the story to me. Don, as a deacon, you have to agree to serve, to volunteer your services to something outside of your church. Don decided to do it in prisons, and it opened his mind up to a whole different thing, because as somebody that put someone in jail because of a crime that happened to him, and somebody that deserved to be in jail, he could see the inhumanity of it all. But when he stepped inside that prison to run the church service, he saw the humanity in it all. He saw that everybody was a child of God, and that everybody, if they're willing to put in the work, they deserve a second chance. Now, a second chance does not mean freedom. There are some of these things that you have got to be held accountable and face head on, but you can still gain freedom even if you're in the prison cell, if you can learn to forgive yourself and forgive the people that have hurt you before. Now, these two get to walk into prisons together, share their testimony. Don gets to say, man, this is the power of forgiveness. This is one of my good friends. Marcus calls him his best friend. I'll be calling him my best friend too if he got me out of my 95-year jail sentence after serving 20 of the years. But clearly Marcus deserved it. But what a sign of hope to all of these inmates that people are out there, even if you wrong them, that they can forgive you and that there is a chance at a better life. Marcus had no business getting out of prison. He shot and tried to take Don's life. And after 20 years of work, both of them, Don decided it was time to forgive him and open up his life to a new thing. And now they're changing lives across the world or across the country. This is a story that has moved a lot of people. It has millions of views on the internet. It has hundreds of thousands of comments. It's been shared hundreds of thousands of times. And it's a level of forgiveness I just don't think that a lot of us will ever be able to achieve. Hopefully we're never even in that situation. But this is why it stuck out to me. If Don can forgive Marcus for almost taking his life and changing his family's life forever, trying to take his life, God intervenes. You get to live another day. If he can forgive that person, what is it with us that we can't forgive a friend, a former friend, a family member, a teacher, a coach, whoever it may be? Why can't we forgive them? And I think a lot of it, I was listening to a podcast and they're talking about like you'll only get to know somebody as much as they've gotten to know themselves. And I think the same is true for forgiveness. You're only going to reach the level of forgiveness with someone else that you've given to yourself. Me personally, I'm hard on myself about a million different things. There are things that maybe what brush off somebody else's back that have sat with me for over 10 years. And it's just the smallest of things. I have a hard time forgiving myself because I feel like there has to be more work that I need to be doing for it. But that's besides the point with me. But it's why it's so important to forgive yourself so that you can give that forgiveness to other people. And that's what they're looking for. They want to be forgiven. You want to forgive. And that's why I love that quote. To forgive is to set a prisoner free and discover that the prisoner was you. That quote could not be any more fitting for this story with Don and Marcus. But also, forgiveness is so key because it's actually good for your health to be able to forgive people that have done you wrong. Harvard researchers found that people who forgive experience lower anxiety, lower stress, and higher self-esteem. Johns Hopkins found that forgiveness can lead to Johns Hopkins has found that forgiveness lowers blood pressure, improves sleep, and reduces the risk of heart disease. So it's in our best interest to work on that tool of forgiveness, start giving our forgiveness to people that we don't even think deserves it because it's literally bad for your health. So I'll wrap it up here. So if there's someone you need to forgive or someone you need to apologize to, or if the person you need to forgive is yourself, maybe today is your moment, not to solve it all, not to perfect it, but just to take one step towards that forgiveness, towards that freedom. Because forgiveness does not change the past, but it enlarges the future. Keep going, keep growing, keep making it to midnight. We need you. I appreciate you guys sitting with me on this episode. I'm going to record another one tomorrow that I'll be able to put out next week, and we're going to get back on track with this. So go out, forgive somebody, even if it's yourself. Most importantly, forgive yourself. I'm trying to take my own advice here. But thanks for being here. Thanks for supporting Make It to Midnight. I've got sweatshirts, beanies, and T-shirts that will be prepared for the holiday season if you want to support. I'm doing it through a third-party website right now, and I have made it as cheap as I can, as cheap as they allow me. So I believe the shirts are $24.99 and the sweatshirts are $30 and the beanies are not finalized yet. But it's not for profit. The profits are small. It's like $2 on each of these items. I just want to get the message out more than anything. I want to get the message of Make It to Midnight out more than I want any other thing that this brand has to offer. So please share this with somebody. Please go forgive somebody. And I hope to see you here next week. Keep going. Make it to midnight. We need you.